And your testimony is under oath.
Yes, sir.
And the testimony you've given is true.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Congresswoman Stephanie Tubbs-Dell. Councilwoman Waters and I have the same question.
Come back to the podium.
Who did you say you were asked to prepare?
I was asked by Tom Feeney. He's now a congressman. At that time, he was Speaker of the House of Florida, Yang Enterprises, which was the company I worked for, lobbyist, and their corporate attorney. He wore a lot of hats.
And at the time, he was the Speaker of the House of Florida. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Congressman.
You say he was the lobbyist for the voting machine company at the same time he was Speaker of the House?
I don't know what the voting machine company is. He was a lobbyist for Yang Enterprises. We had NASA contracts and
Yang Enterprises did what? Computers?
computers.
Okay, and he was your lobbyist, your
He
company.
was the lobbyist for that company,
And
yes.
he asked you to design a code to rig an election
Yes.
while he was Speaker of the Florida House.
Yes.
This was during or previous to the 2000 election?
Yes. October into September.
And did he ever express why he wanted a code to rig an election?
No, I immediately assumed that they were trying to keep you guys from cheating them. So, so I wrote up the documentation of what you would look for in the source code, how you would make sure that you didn't get, taken advantage of, make sure that all voting machines had receipts, because that way you could back count the ones that looked a little funny. And I handed it.
By receipts, you mean a paper trail?
Yes, paper trail. And I handed that in to Mrs. Yang and said, here's your report, here's your program. And she said, you don't understand, we need to hide the fraud in the source code.
Hide the fraud, not reveal the fraud.
Not reveal the fraud, because it's needed to control the vote in South Florida, was what she said.
That's what she said.
That's
To your knowledge, was this used?
I have no idea. I was ready to leave, so I retired and left the company.
Your testimony a moment ago, I think you said just before you left, in answer to Congresswoman Tubbs-Jones' question. Could you today detect that if you looked at the source code?
If you could get the machines and they have not been patched yet, once they get in and touch them, anything can happen. You can also set timers to do that, but then you see the timers. Then you'd have to take those machines, decompile them, which I couldn't do, but possibly a Microsoft, an MIT, something could do. You might be able to see it.
You might.
Not necessarily. Depends on how good they are at destroying what they had.
Destroying what they had by tampering with the machine afterwards, or by programming a destroy instruction in the first place?
Right, because since you didn't...
Either or both?
Either or both. You didn't actually see what's in there, so you don't know if the code is running in a single executable or running in various modules. If it's running in modules, you can make the code actually eat itself.
Let me ask you one further question.
Your credentials.
I'm a programmer. I worked for NASA, worked for ExxonMobil, worked for Department of Transportation, and...
All right, here is the memory card I have touched. Okay, now this is the only piece of Diebold equipment that you've used. That's correct. Well, thank you. Let me take your ballot in. This card will go into this slot. The next activity that the election worker does on the morning of the election is turn the machine on, making it live to receive votes. When you do that, this machine will produce what is called a zero total tape. The machine is going through a self-test analysis, and then it will spontaneously turn on. This is Harry's card that is telling us that there are 0 votes stored in the memory. Okay, let me get the ballots. Let's insert a yes ballot. We're going to put in another no. 7. And the last no ballot, 8. Placing the ender card in this device and telling it to turn off its counting function and do its reporting function will now cause the voting machine to print out a tape reading the number of votes that it had just read. Oh my.
Oh no! What is it? What is it? 7 yes, 1 no. Oh my god! Oh my gosh! Let me see.
Here's the tape.
7 people said it could be hacked.
And we put through 6 and 2.
6
no's
no's
and
2
2
yeses.
yeses.
Oh my gosh! Do you know what this means?
How do we know that Hari didn't just change the report and the votes themselves on the memory card are still correct? If that was the case, when they go into GEMS, the results would be different, isn't that right?
I mean, the only way to know that is to read them into GEMS and to check the vote totals.
See what GEMS says. So should we do that?
I think we should, because I want to confirm for my own analysis, is this just a superficial
Right, that's a good
hack? In other words,
question.
did we just change the words on this paper? If I had not seen what was behind this, I'd have no reason not to. I would have certified this election as a true and accurate result of a vote.
Susan, what does this mean to you?
Makes me cry. I'm sorry, but it does.
Why?
There's so many reasons. The reasons because there are people out there who are giving their lives to try to make our elections secure, and they're being called conspiracy theorists and technophobes, and these vendors are lying and saying that everything's all right, and it's not all right. And I'm crying because I'll quote somebody that I know who said that it's as though our country is one country pretending to be another country. How can this be happening to our elections?
Scientists at Berkeley University later confirmed Hari's findings. They discovered a further 16 security flaws in Diebold's touchscreen machines. ES&S and Sequoia claimed their systems were safe, and Diebold maintains that they have upgraded their software to make it even more secure. They also insist that their electronic voting systems are still more accurate than their predecessors. But now, everyone is asking, why can votes be altered without leaving a trace?
We're showing a minus sign in front of the votes that it had subtracted from Gore. I mean, it wasn't like it was trying to hide it. It says there's minus 16,022 votes.
There was an investigation into the negative votes, and it was established that the problem couldn't have been due to machine failure because only the totals for the presidential race were affected. It looked like a second memory card may have been loaded onto the computer. Memory cards contain the votes, but this second card had disappeared, so they couldn't check it. The software is a trade secret. It's against federal and state law to look inside Diebold's voting machine. The votes themselves are stored on the computer's memory cards.
This is the voter cartridge. This cartridge is very important, and it goes right into our bag.
There it is.
These memory cards are taken to a master computer, sometimes called the central tabulator, which reads the votes, adds them up, and then declares the winner. The problem is that you can't see a computer adding up the votes. So, how do you know if it's counted correctly? Computers count around 80% of America's votes. Every vote is stored on a memory card before the totals are printed. So, if you can hack the memory cards, you can control an election.
The real vulnerability has to be very close to the source of the information. In that environment, the only possibility was the memory card.
Hari wanted to find out what exactly was inside the Diebold ballot box. And so he bought a memory card reader off the internet. And within a couple of days, he found that the cards didn't just contain votes. There was a program, or executable code,